the channel. In this video is my Premier League predictions game week 21. Game week 20 was an exciting weekend full of interesting results. Arsenal went to the Vitality Stadium and managed to secure a 3-2 victory over AFC Bournemouth. Chelsea also went to the Etihad Stadium and got a 1-1 draw against Manchester City. Man United also went to the Ellen Road and got a 1-1 draw against Leeds United, whilst Liverpool also went to the Craven Cottage in game week 20 and secured a 2-2 draw against Fulham. Well, in game week 20, I had two games spot on predicted. That was between Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest. I predicted a 3-1 victory for Aston Villa in game week 20, and at the end of the day, I got that game spot on predicted. The other game that I got spot on predicted to was between Brighton versus Burnley. I predicted a 2-0 victory for Brighton, and I got that game to spot on predicted. I mean, one of the close predictions I had to was between Leeds United versus Manchester United. I predicted that game to end in a 2-2 draw, and at the end of the day, that game ended in the 1-1 draw. So 2026, I think I'm going to do my predictions. My name is Andy Finer. If you're new here, subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment your thoughts and your predictions at the comment section. I'll be there to interact with you. Without wasting much of your time, let's get started with the game week 21 predictions. Of the game week 21 predictions at the London Stadium is between West Ham United versus Nottingham Forest. This is going to be an interesting game. These are two teams struggling at the relegation bottom. I mean, looking at Nottingham Forest now, they are 17th on the league table with 18 points minus of 14 goals. Talking about West Ham United, they are also 18th on the league table with 14 points minus of 20 goals as it stands in game week 20. Going into this game week 21, let's talk about their performances in game week 20. West Ham United went to the Molineux Stadium in game week 20 and they lost that game against Wolves by 3-0. Talking about Nottingham Forest, they also went to the Villa Park in game week 20 and they lost that game by 3-1 against Aston Villa in game week 20. So these were two teams who conceded 3 goals in game week 20 and going into this game at London Stadium in game week 21, which is midweek game. So I mean, it's just 3 days. I mean, they just played this weekend and midweek they are playing. So this is going to be a very difficult game because right now, looking at how things are going, both teams are struggling at the relegation. So this is going to be a relegation battle. If Nottingham Forest manage to get a win against West Ham, it means they are gradually escaping the relegation because it will be like 5 or 6 points clear between these two teams. So going into this game, that's why I may love West Ham United to get a home advantage and get a win over Nottingham Forest. But somehow too, I feel like Nottingham Forest last season was so impressive. This season they had managerial crisis and all of a sudden they start dropping points. And this game to Nuno Espirito playing against his former team is going to be interesting. I think this game could probably end in a draw, and maybe I should go for a 1-1 draw between West Ham United and Nottingham Forest. My score prediction for this game is a 1-1 draw. Nottingham Forest 1, West Ham United 1. Moving on to the next game at the Vitality Stadium in game week 21 is between AFC Bournemouth versus Tottenham Hotspur. This is going to be a very difficult game coming up at the Vitality Stadium in game week 21. AFC Bournemouth hosting Tottenham Hotspur. Looking at the Premier League table as it stands in game week 20, Tottenham Hotspur at the moment, they are 13th on the league table with 27 points plus of 4 goals. Also 15th on the Premier League table with 23 points minus of 7 goals. So going into this game is going to be a very difficult and interesting game coming up at the Vitality Stadium in game week 21. Looking at these two teams' performances in game week 20, Tottenham Hotspur in game week 20 at home at the game week 20. Tottenham Hotspur were at home. They hosted Sunderland in game week 20. At the end of the day, they ended up doing 1-1 against Sunderland in game week 20. Cherished AFC Bournemouth also in game week 20 at home at the Vitality hosted Arsenal. At the end of the day, they lost that game by 3-2 against Arsenal in game week 20. What do I think is going to happen in game week 21 at the Vitality Stadium? Tottenham Hotspur going to visit AFC Bournemouth in a very difficult game in the Premier League. Well, based on how things are going, looking at the performances from AFC Bournemouth of late, they struggled to get a win. I think in their last 5 games, they've not even won even a single game. They've had a couple of draws. They drew against Manchester United, drew against Chelsea, and now they've lost against Arsenal. And going into this game against a Tottenham Hotspur team who also started well this season, but they fell off, and now they are struggling at 13th position. I think this will be a game that Tottenham will be very happy to get all the 3 maximum points, and I think maybe Antoine Semenyo may not play this game because his negotiation between Man City is imminent, and I think he may leave. He may not play this game for AFC Bournemouth. What is my score prediction going into this game at the Vitality Stadium? AFC Bournemouth versus Tottenham Hotspur. Well, I'm predicting Tottenham Hotspur to secure a narrow victory over AFC Bournemouth. My score prediction is a 2-1 win for Tottenham Hotspur, but probably this game could also end in a draw. Oh yes, moving on to the next game at the GTEC Community Stadium in game 21 is between Brentford versus Sunderland. This is going to be a very difficult game coming up in game 21 at the GTEC Community Stadium. Brentford hosting Sunderland. This is 7th on the league table versus 8th on the league table. Both teams have the same point, but well, as it stands in game 20, Brentford is now 7th on the league table with 30 points plus of 4 goals. Sunderland is also now 8th on the Premier League table with 30 points plus of 2 goals as it stands in game 20. Looking at these two teams' performances in game 21, Brentford got a 4-1 victory over Everton in game 20, whilst Sunderland too, on the other hand, secured a 1-1 draw at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Tottenham in game week 20. Going into this game at the GTEC Community Stadium, what do I think is going to happen? This is going to be a very difficult game, and to predict this game, I think this game will also end in a draw, but I would like Brentford to secure a win over Sunderland. Looking at how good Brentford and Igor Thiago has been this season, I think this game will be very nice for them to win, for them to move to 33 points. Probably this game could also end a draw. And my score prediction in this game is going to be a 2-1 victory for Brentford. Brentford 2, Sunderland 1. Moving on to the next game at the Selhurst Park in game 21 is between Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. Well, going to this game is going to be a very difficult game to call. Talking about Aston Villa in game 20, secure a 3-1 victory over Nottingham Forest. Talking about Crystal Palace also in game 20, they went to the St. James Park. They lost by 2-0 against Newcastle United in game 20. Looking at both teams on the league table as it stands in game 20, Aston Villa at the moment, they are third on the Premier League table with 42 points as of 9 goals. Talking about Crystal Palace, they are also 14th on the Premier League table with 27 points minus of 1 goal as it stands in game 20. What do I think is going to happen at the Selhurst Park? Well, Crystal Palace, despite in their last 2 games, they haven't been brilliant. They got a 1-1 draw, and just this weekend too, they lost 2-0 against Newcastle United. I think they have not been good in their last 2 games, but well, they started well this season. I think they were the last team to be beaten this season in the Premier League. And looking at how good Aston Villa too has also become this season, they also didn't have a good start at all, but well, in their last 10 Premier League games, they are the best team in the league. Well, they've lost only one, which was against Arsenal, and last weekend also secured a 3-1 victory over Nottingham Forest. Going into this game at the Selhurst Park, what do I think is going to happen? Well, I think Unai Emery and Aston Villa are going to get the results against this struggling Crystal Palace team. Despite they are good, they can turn up on any day and get a result. But going into this game, I'm predicting Aston Villa to also secure a 2-1 victory over Crystal Palace. Aston Villa 2, Crystal Palace 1. Moving on to Hill Dickinson Stadium in game 21 is between Everton versus Wolves. This is going to be a difficult game to call in game 21. Everton at home at Hill Dickinson hosting Wolves. So far so good this season. Everton, looking at both teams on the league table as it stands in game 20. Everton is now 12th on the league table with 28 points minus of 2 goals as it stands in game 20. Talking about Wolves, they are the bottom 20th position on the league table with 6 points, minus of 26 goals as it stands in game week 20. So far so good. Looking at these two teams' performance in game week 20, Everton at home lost 4-2 to Brentford, and Wolves too also got their first win of the season, securing a 3-0 victory over West Ham United in game week 20, meaning the entire season they had 3 points until they met West Ham United in game week 20, and they secured 3 points, 3 goals against West Ham United, which I think is going to be a very difficult game going to the Aston Stadium to face Everton after getting that good results against West Ham United. What do I think is going to happen? Well, I'm predicting Everton to secure a victory over Wolves in game week 21. My score prediction in this game is going to be a 2-0 victory for Everton. Everton 2, Wolves 0. Moving on to the next game at the Craven Cottage in game week 21 is between Fulham versus Chelsea. This is a derby game. Going to this game, Chelsea is coming from a 1-1 draw against Manchester City in game week 20 at the Etihad Stadium, whilst Fulham too is coming from a 2-2 draw against Liverpool in game week 20 at the Craven Cottage. These are two teams who had draws in their games in game 20, and looking at both teams on the league table as it stands in game 20, Chelsea at the moment they are 5th on the Premier League table with 31 points plus of 11 goals. Talking about Fulham, they are also 11th on the Premier League table with 28 points minus of 1 goal as it stands in game week 20. And going to this game, Fulham in their first leg lost 2-0 against Chelsea, and I think this is going to be a very difficult game for Fulham. That's why they secured a 2-2 draw against Liverpool, and Chelsea also sacked their manager, went to Etihad and got a 1-1 draw against Manchester City, which I think was a good result for Chelsea. I personally predicted Chelsea to lose their game against Manchester City, but at the end of the day, they got a last-minute equalizer. Enzo Fernandez equalized, making it 1-1 at the Etihad for Chelsea to get that 1 point away at Manchester City. And coming away against Fulham too, I think this is a derby game and anything can happen, but because Chelsea were able to manage to secure that draw against Manchester City, I'm tipping them to go ahead to win this game against Fulham. What is my score prediction between Fulham versus Chelsea? I'm predicting Chelsea to secure a 2-1 victory over Fulham at the Craven Cottage. Chelsea 2, Fulham 1. Moving on to the next game too at the Etihad Stadium in game week 21 is between Manchester City versus Brighton. This is going to be an interesting game coming up in game week 21. Manchester City at home at the Etihad Stadium hosting Brighton. These are two teams. In game week 20, Manchester City got a 1-1 draw against Chelsea. Brighton too at home at the Amex Stadium secured a 2-0 victory over Burnley in game week 20. And we're talking about these two teams on the league table right now as it stands in game week 20. Manchester City is now 2nd on the Premier League table with 42 points plus of 26 goals as it stands in game week 20. Talking about Brighton at the moment, they are also 10th on the Premier League table with 28 points plus of 3 goals as it stands in game week 20. This is going to be a very difficult game. Last season, this game ended in a draw, but I think right now, Manchester City is trying their possible best to chase Arsenal for. I think this is a game Manchester City can't afford to drop a point, because in the last 2 games, they got a draw against Sunderland, got a draw against Chelsea, and they can't afford to lose or drop points again against Brighton in this game. So this is a must-win game for Manchester City. If indeed they are in the title race against Arsenal, then this is a game Manchester City can't afford to drop points. What is my score prediction going to this game? I'm predicting Manchester City to get a win over Brighton, and I'm predicting this game to end in a 2-1 victory for Manchester City. Manchester City 2, Brighton 1. Moving on to the next game at the Turf Moor is between Burnley versus Manchester United. This is going to be an interesting game coming up in game week 21 at the 12th Mall. Manchester United going away to face Burnley. Talking about these two teams, right now looking at the Premier League table as it stands in game week 20, Manchester United is now sit on the Premier League table with 30 points plus of 4 goals. Talking about Burnley, they are also 19th, struggling at the bottom, 19th position with 12 points minus of 19 goals as it stands in game week 20. About their performances in game week 20, well, Burnley went to the Emirates Stadium and they lost by 2-0 against Brighton in game week 20. Manchester United also went to the Elland Road and they got a 1-1 draw against Leeds United in game week 20. So Manchester United got a draw, Burnley lost their game, and going into this game is a must-win game if Manchester United indeed is pushing to get top 4 or Champions League football next season. This is a game that they must get all the 3 maximum points, and well, going into this game, I think it will be very difficult. Looking at the first leg, Manchester United managed to win against Burnley, and this game being at Burnley's home, I'm tipping this game to also end in a draw. My score prediction in this game is going to be a 1-1 draw. Burnley 1, Manchester United 1. Moving on to the next game at the St. James Park in game 21 is between Newcastle United versus Leeds United. This is going to be a crucial game coming up in game 21 at the St. James Park. Newcastle United in game 20 secure a 2-0 victory over Crystal Palace. And talking about Leeds United in game 20 also got a 1-1 draw against Manchester United. Looking at both teams on the league table as it stands in game 20, Newcastle at the moment, they are 9th on the Premier League table with 29 points plus of 4 goals. And talking about Leeds United, they are also 16th on the league table with 22 points minus of 7 goals as it stands in game week 20. Going into this game at the St. James Park, Newcastle coming from a 2-0 victory over Crystal Palace, Leeds United drawing 1-1 against Manchester United is going to be a very difficult game to call at the St. James Park in game week 21. Because it's midweek, there is not enough rest for all these two teams. I'm predicting this game to end in a draw. My score prediction in this game is going to be a 1-1 draw. Newcastle United 1, Leeds United 1. Moving on to the last game in game week 21 at the Emirates Stadium in North London is between Arsenal versus Liverpool. This is the game of the week in Premier League game week 21. Arsenal at home hosting Liverpool, the defending champions of the Premier League. Right now, looking at the both teams on the league table at the moment, Arsenal is leading the league table with 48 points plus of 26 goals. And Liverpool at the moment, they are also 4th on the league table with 34 points plus of 4 goals as it stands in game week 20. Looking at both teams' performance in game week 20, Arsenal went to the Vitality Stadium to face AFC Bournemouth, and at the end of that game, they secured a 3-2 victory over AFC Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium in game week 20. And well, Liverpool also went to the Craven Cottage in game week 20 and got a 2-2 draw against Fulham, which I think in that game, Liverpool nearly got that victory over Fulham at Craven Cottage in game week 20. Going into this game at the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal pushing harder to win the Premier League title. Right now, looking at the points difference between Arsenal and Manchester City, 6 points clear between Arsenal and Manchester City, 48-42. And well, going into this game, Arsenal hosting Liverpool is going to be a very difficult game to call. But well, something is telling me that despite Liverpool hasn't been brilliant, but I think in this game against Arsenal, they are going to snatch a point against Arsenal. My score prediction in this game is going to be a 1-1 draw, but I'm sure Arsenal can win this game. But well, something within me is telling me this game is going to end in a draw, and I'm predicting a 1-1 draw. Yes, this has been my prediction for Premier League game week 21, which is midweek games. My prediction. My name is Andy. If you're new here, subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment your thoughts and your predictions at the comment section, and I'm looking out for more spot on predictions in this game week 21. Let me know yours at the comment section. Till we meet in another video. Bye bye for now.